What's up, everyone? We're going to make a quick little video today on the Milwaukee Bucks and about their defensive issues that they've had beginning of the season. Milwaukee last year, and really under Mike Budenholzer and during Drew Holiday's time in Milwaukee, were really good defensively. Consistently a team that was at least top 10 in defensive efficiency. Last year, they were fourth in defensive rating, and off to a start here in the 2023-24 season. They are, I believe, the 29th worst defensive rating team in the league. So we're going to break down some film on why that's the case. Feel free to subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment. Let's get into it. All right, first possession here is against the Philadelphia 76ers. Just a simple jog back on defense type of a situation for Milwaukee. You actually can see right here, Dame is telling Jay Crowder to, go defend Kelly Oubre, and that he's matching up with Maxey. But Damian's playing really far off of Maxey and doesn't really get out even remotely close to defending him. So Beverly just throws a little pass over to Maxey. Maxey catches it with a bunch of space, and Beverly even kind of runs into Damian to prevent him from getting a good closeout. So next play, Beverly bringing up the court again. Just a simple little pitch over to Maxey, who's being guarded by Beasley. And it looks like this is supposed to be a switch, but doesn't really end up that way. It turns out that Beasley and Damian aren't on the same page, and it turns out to be an open layup for Maxey. If we actually go back to this, you can actually see Beasley point out to Damian that he needs to switch on to Maxey. And there's just some miscommunication with that, as it turns out that Damian goes with Beverly, and it leads to an open layup. Another trend that I've seen a lot from Beasley and Damian has been them just dying on screens or any type of navigation through any contact. Here we see Embiid at the wing right by the three-point line, and Maxey goes in as if he's going to zoom into the handoff, and Embiid just pivots and bumps Beasley a little bit, and Beasley's completely out of the play now. Little dump off pass, and Maxey does a really good job of finishing over Brook Lopez. This one's not as egregious as other plays, but Crowder just gets behind Embiid for whatever reason. Embiid gets inside the three-point arc pretty easy. Giannis has to come into the paint to make sure to take away the rim, and it's just an easy little pass over to Tobias Harris, who's open for three. Just kind of undisciplined on a sideline out of bounds play where they make a shot and it turns into a one possession all of a sudden. Moving on to the Raptors game. We have Siakam in the corner here, guarded by Beasley. Damian comes over to help and double. Middleton's a tad bit slow on his rotation, and it turns into an OG Anunoby 3. This one's a little bit on Giannis, but I'm not quite sure why we're doubling the ball here and leaving shooters open. Giannis is also slow to his assignment, but just putting two on the ball with Siakam creates a wide open shot for a good shooter in Anunoby. Quick little snapshot of Beasley's defense here. So Schroeder's at the top of the key being guarded by Giannis. Beasley gets over in the gap to take over the left side of the floor. Schroeder actually doesn't even throw a good pass here. It's a little outside of Anunoby. But Beasley, when he goes out, just doesn't close out great. And the baseline drive is very wide open because of the Pirtle seal on Crowder, and it turns into an easy dunk. Here's another Beasley play where Schroeder's bringing the ball up the court. I think Pirtle wants to come up and set a screen. They don't even get any contact on Beasley, but Schroeder just drives right by, and it turns into a dunk for the Raptors. Next one here is Damian Lillard. Pretty bad defense right here. We're going up the court, and he is just behind Schroeder the entire time. I mean, this is grade level stuff where you have to stay in between your man and the basket, and he's just playing from behind on Schroeder and doesn't really seem at all interested in trying to get back in front. You can see him really just jogging behind Schroeder, and Schroeder's like, okay, that's fine with me. I'll just throw a little pocket pass here if Lopez is going to try to stop me, and it turns into another easy rim shot. On this possession, the Bucks actually go zone for a minute, and all this is a simple back screen from Pirtle. Damian doesn't really stun at the ball here at all to stop Schroeder, and it's just Schroeder getting right to the nail and getting an easy floater over Brook Lopez. So we've seen zone, we've seen a little bit of hedging, or at least what Damian thought was going to be a hedge in that Maxey clip. And now, in the second half of this game against Toronto, the Bucks test out switching, but ultimately switching doesn't end up to be anything positive for the Bucks, as Schroeder sets this rip screen for Anunoby to get the catch on the block against Damian, who switches with Beasley, and it's just an easy post up and hook shot at the rim. I think this is kind of a play here early in the first quarter against this Raptors team that really emphasizes the weakness on defense for the Bucks, and that's just being focused on defense. This is early into the game, and there's so many possessions where I see Damian just taking off defensive plays and waiting for the Bucks to get the ball and to be on offense. So here we have a little bit of a scramble here. Pirtle gets the ball, shoots it, misses it, tips it out. And watch Damian here, right? Just a slow kind of reaction, like he's standing right next to Pirtle. And these scramble situations off of offensive rebounds, you need to ultimately just get matched up. Both Beasley and Damian are kind of just in the paint at the rim. Giannis is guarding a guy. Middleton actually, I think, does a pretty okay job of being able to scramble out and contest Barnes, who's not a great shooter. And then Lopez at the elbow here with Schroeder. Yes, Siakam's open, getting a little bit of a screen from Schroeder. But you can see Damian actually pointing to Beasley here and saying, take Pirtle. And it's just an easy pass right into Pirtle with no resistance. This one's kind of a good little action here for the Raptors. This is actually the beginning of the game when the Bucks started doing some switching with Damian. Ball at the elbow here with Barnes. Passes out to Schroeder and then comes up and sets that screen for Schroeder. You can see Middleton and Damian switch. But while they're doing that, Siakam actually leaves the painted area, comes out to the top of the key. And there's, again, some confusion on what the defensive coverage is between Giannis and Damian. Giannis is coming out here to take away Barnes on the roll, but Damian, who just switched on him, is also on him as well. So that leaves Siakam wide open at the top of the key, just getting a catch and shoot three. Moving on to some Miami Heat clips in a game that they actually won by a good margin. This is a situation where Miami runs a little zoom action here where it's a pin down, where Love is coming down and setting the pin down for Hero. Beasley gets in this trail mode, and they put two on the ball, and it's just an easy dump off pass to Thomas Bryant. And that's all done because Beasley is trailing the play. It's a hard thing to guard, but ultimately Beasley's behind Hero, and Hero just gets easy access into the paint and turns into an easy shot at the rim. This one's a little bit interesting just because we have Brook Lopez coming over in what looks to be, I don't think it's a full hedge, and I don't think it's a full trap, but he is stopping Trae Young from being able to use the Capella screen on this double drag that Atlanta sets for Trae. And it turns into kind of this double of the ball for a second. Trae does a really good job of looking off Capella, and it attracts both Damian and Giannis to take a step towards Johnson. And with Lopez out of position here, it's just a firing pass right into the paint for an easy dunk. Maybe Dame needs to drop here a little bit more and be aware that he's probably that help person, especially if they're trying to take away the three. But overall, just a little bit more confusion for this Bucks team. Another one here against the Heat here where Love drives in on Lopez, gets into the paint. It looks like they actually do stop him. They contested the rim pretty well. Love has to pivot out of it. But the issue is that Beasley turns his head away from Hero, and Hero looks and sees that and is able to just walk, not even cut, but just walk in behind Beasley and get an easy floater in the paint because Beasley's not paying attention on defense. Last clip here is of DeJounte Murray just abusing Malik Beasley. Gets into the paint relatively easy, but because Lopez is there to meet Murray, he actually resets with Capella, gets the ball right back, and now it's Beasley trying to guard him and having to go over these screens that Capella is setting. Connaughton does a good job of playing in the gap. Lopez is where he needs to be at as well. But when you put two on the ball and Lopez kind of overcommits a little bit and Capella sees that and sees all this space in the paint and there's no tag here from Damian to take away Capella's easy roll to the rim, it turns into just a nice little bounce pass and another dunk. I don't really know how Milwaukee's going to figure this defensive issue out. Damian's going to be there for the long term, obviously. I don't know if they can really move off of Beasley or fully give Connaughton the starting job. So is it in the buyout market? Is it a trade? Because right now we know that a team this bad on defense cannot win a championship. It just simply has never been done. So where does Milwaukee go from here, understanding that they're a little bit limited on what they can do roster-wise? But thank you for watching the video. Feel free to, again, subscribe to the channel, comment, like the video, all that good stuff, and we'll have more in the future.